What is intelligence? For decades, we've been told it's a number on an IQ test, a grade on a paper, or a degree hanging on your wall. They told us intelligence was about memorizing facts and solving math problems quickly. But that definition is incomplete, and it's time we explored what intelligence actually means in the real world. True intelligence extends far beyond academic achievement. Intelligence is about awareness, adaptability, and the ability to navigate life effectively. It's about understanding yourself, understanding others, and recognizing the systems that shape our reality. Today, we're going to explore 7 distinct levels of cognitive and emotional development. This isn't about ranking people as better or worse than others. This is about honest self-assessment and identifying where you can grow. By the end of this video, you'll see exactly where you stand on this hierarchy. It might be uncomfortable. It might even be challenging to accept. But once you see where you rank, you can never unsee it. The way you view yourself and others will fundamentally change. So the question is, are you ready to look in the mirror? Look around you the next time you're in a crowded place. Watch the faces on the subway, in the grocery store, or walking down the street during rush hour. What do you see? You see people living on autopilot. And this is level 1, the most populated level of all. People at this stage aren't necessarily unintelligent in the traditional sense. They might have high IQ scores, they might be doctors, lawyers, or engineers. They might be able to recite Shakespeare or code in Python. But functionally, they're operating in reactive mode. Intelligence at this level is purely responsive rather than intentional. The person at level 1 doesn't actively shape their life. Life happens to them. The alarm rings. They wake up. The boss commands. They obey. The news tells them what to think, and they believe it. The advertisement appears, and they buy. They genuinely believe their opinions are their own, but if you press them, if you ask them why they believe what they believe, the foundation crumbles. They'll repeat a headline they saw online or parrot something their parents taught them without ever questioning it. This level is defined by a lack of conscious agency. These individuals live with what psychologists call an external locus of control. Everything that happens to them is someone else's fault. The economy, the government, their spouse, their bad luck. They're drifting down a river they refuse to navigate, victims of circumstance rather than architects of their destiny. Psychologically, people at this level are terrified of true autonomy. Freedom isn't a gift to them, it's a burden. If you gave them complete freedom, they would panic. They crave structure and authority. They want to be told what is good, what is bad, and what they should do next. This is why they're obsessed with consensus. They need to know what the majority thinks before they feel safe forming an opinion. They check comments before deciding what to believe. They follow trends before choosing how to dress. Their greatest fear isn't being wrong. Their greatest fear is standing alone. If you're at level 1, you probably aren't watching this video right now. The algorithm doesn't typically show this kind of content to people operating on autopilot. But if you were at level 1 and you're just now waking up, understand this. That nagging sense that your life isn't truly your own, that uncomfortable feeling in your gut, that's not depression. That's reality breaking through the fog. That's the first sign of awakening. When someone at level 1 begins to wake up, they don't immediately become wise. They become loud. They enter level 2, the stage of the mimic. The person at level 2 has realized that the world operates like a game. They've discovered that intelligence is a form of currency that buys respect, status, and validation. But they don't yet have their own independent mind, so they borrow the minds of others. This is the person at the dinner party who uses sophisticated vocabulary they don't fully understand. This is the social media activist who adopts the latest cause, not because they genuinely care, but because it signals virtue to their peers. They read book reviews, but never the actual books. They quote philosophers, but have never truly grappled with the difficult questions those philosophers explored. At level 2, intelligence becomes a performance, a costume you wear to impress others. These individuals are obsessed With the aesthetic of intellect, they collect degrees, certifications, and titles like trophies on a shelf. They need you to know they're smart. They need the applause, the recognition, the external validation that confirms their self-worth. This is perhaps the most dangerous level for your ego. Because at level 2, you feel superior to those at level 1. You look down on the masses and think to yourself, look at those people operating on autopilot. I'm awake. I'm different. But you're not truly awake. You're just dreaming a different dream, playing a different character in the same movie. The person at level 2 is trapped in what's known as the Dunning-Kruger effect. They know just enough to believe they're experts, but not enough to realize how much they don't actually understand. They mistake the appearance of knowledge for genuine understanding. They believe that if they look like a leader, they are a leader. If they sound like a philosopher, they must be a philosopher. But probe deeper, challenge someone at this level, ask them to solve a novel problem they haven't encountered before, ask them to build something from scratch without a template. They panic because they cannot create. They can only copy, only echo, only reflect what they've absorbed from others. The tragedy of level 2 is the addiction to external validation. Their entire sense of self-worth hangs on the approval of others. They're terrified of being exposed as frauds, which makes them rigid and aggressive when questioned. If you find yourself constantly trying to prove you're right, if you're memorizing arguments to win debates rather than seeking truth, you're stuck at level 2. You're performing intelligence rather than embodying it. Here is where things shift dramatically. When you stop performing for others and start observing reality as it actually is, you ascend to level 3, the calculator. This is where true agency begins to emerge. The person at level 3 has dropped the need for validation. They no longer care if people think they're smart. They care about winning, about results, about what actually works in the real world. They look at the world, at the laws and morals and social contracts that govern society, and they realize something profound. These aren't absolute truths handed down from on high. They're arbitrary rules created by humans, and rules can be bent, negotiated, and strategically navigated. Level 3 intelligence is transactional. It's cold and strategic and highly effective. The calculator looks at every situation and asks practical questions. What do people want here? What are they afraid of? How can I use this information to achieve my goals? They understand incentive structures. They know how to climb corporate ladders, not by working the hardest, but by maneuvering the smartest. They know who to flatter and who to ignore, when to speak and when to remain silent. The calculator is effective, there's no question about that. They achieve their goals. They accumulate resources and status, but they're often lonely, because when you view every interaction as a transaction, you kill the human element. You begin to see people as chess pieces, to be moved rather than human beings to connect with. While this makes you powerful, it also makes you paranoid. The calculator constantly watches their back because they assume everyone else is a calculator too. They project their own strategic thinking onto the world and trust no one. This is the trap of level 3. You become a prisoner of your own strategy. You're so busy playing the game that you forget to actually live. You're efficient, yes, but you're hollow inside. Many successful CEOs, politicians, and entrepreneurs stop here. They have money and status, but they have no peace. They're trapped in a perpetual state of scanning for threats and opportunities. They're the smartest person in the room, but they're still reacting to the room. They're still playing within a system someone else built. They're winning the game, but they're not free from it. To rise higher, you must stop thinking only about yourself. You must become a force of nature. The calculator is cunning, but they hide in the shadows. Level 4 is the operator, and the operator transcends mere calculation by adding a crucial new element, will. The calculator tries to navigate the world safely and strategically. The operator tries to shape the world through sheer force of personality and competence. This is the level of high command, of leadership that inspires and transforms. The operator doesn't just see the chess pieces on the board, they move them with conviction and purpose. The operator is not afraid of conflict. In fact, they thrive in it. They're willing to make the hard decisions that people at lower levels are too terrified to make. They accept the burden of responsibility that comes with leadership. At this level, intelligence becomes generative rather than just exploitative. You aren't just taking advantage of existing opportunities, you're creating new opportunities through your ability to execute and deliver results. People follow the operator not because they're being manipulated, like with the calculator, but because the operator represents order in a world of chaos. They're a lighthouse in the storm, they have a vision, and they have the discipline to march toward it, bringing everyone else along with them, whether they like it or not. But the operator has a fatal flaw, and that flaw is visibility. The operator is loud. They stand at the front. They take the credit when things go well, but they also take all the blame when things go wrong. They're a target because their power is tied to their physical presence and energy. If they get sick, the empire crumbles. If they show weakness, the wolves attack. The operator is exhausted. They carry the weight of the world on their shoulders. They think they're the king, but they're actually the highest paid servant in the kingdom. They're a slave to their own ambition, believing that power is about doing, about controlling, about being seen and recognized. They haven't yet learned the ultimate lesson of power, that the most dangerous forces in the universe are the ones you cannot see. Now we enter deeper waters, the levels that aren't taught in schools or discussed in polite society. Level 5 is the puppeteer, and if the calculator is cunning and the operator is strong, the puppeteer is invisible. The puppeteer has realized something crucial. Direct control, the level 4 approach, is actually inefficient. It creates resistance. If you push someone, they push back. If you order someone around, they resent you. But if you make them want to do what you want them to do, if you make it feel like their own choice, you own them completely. This is soft power. This is influence at its highest form. The puppeteer doesn't stand on the podium giving speeches. They stand in the shadows behind the podium, whispering in the ear of the operator. They understand the deepest layers of human psychology. They know that humans are fundamentally driven by two forces, desire and fear. They don't fight reality head-on, they seduce it. The puppeteer creates narratives and engineers situations where the outcome feels inevitable. Yet everyone involved feels like they made a free choice. They're masters of plausible deniability. If a project fails, their name is nowhere on the paperwork. If it succeeds, they quietly reap the rewards. They operate through intermediaries, using people at lower levels as extensions of their will. The puppeteer is a shapeshifter. They become whoever they need to be to get what they want. They have no fixed identity. To the person at level 1, they're a friend. To the operator, they're a trusted advisor. To the calculator, they're a valuable business partner. None of them realize they're being steered like puppets on strings. But level 5 comes with a terrible price, and that price is dissociation. When you spend your entire life wearing masks, you eventually forget what your real face looks like. When you view every human interaction as a psychological operation, you lose the ability to genuinely connect with anyone. The puppeteer is powerful, yes, but they're a ghost. They walk through the world, but they're not truly of the world. They're cold, even colder than the calculator. They look at humanity with the detachment of a scientist observing bacteria under a microscope. They can predict human behavior, they can control it, but they can never truly be part of it. This is the lonely peak of manipulation, and most people who reach this level think this is the top. They think being the invisible hand pulling the strings is the ultimate form of power. But they're wrong, because the puppeteer is still playing the game. They're still manipulating the pieces. They're still reacting to the board that someone else created. The true master doesn't play the game. The true master builds the casino. This is level 6, the architect, and the architect doesn't manipulate individual people. The architect designs environments and systems. The architect understands something fundamental about human nature. Behavior is a function of environment. If you want people to walk a certain way, you don't ask them and you don't trick them. You simply build a hallway that leads in that direction. The architect builds the hallways of society. They create systems Ideologies, corporations, algorithms, religions, and even nations. They set the rules of the game that everyone at lower levels is fighting over. While the calculator is trying to steal a grape, and the operator is fighting for the whole bunch, and the puppeteer is convincing someone to hand over the grapes, the architect owns the entire vineyard. This is systemic intelligence, the ability to think in second order, third order, and fourth order consequences. The architect thinks in decades and centuries, not in quarterly earnings reports. They're detached from the outcome of individual battles because they've already rigged the entire war. Think about the creators of major social media platforms. They're architects. They don't care what you argue about in the comments. They don't care which political side wins the debate. They built the arena where the fight happens, and they profit from the noise, from the conflict, from the endless engagement, regardless of the content. The architect isn't evil, and they aren't good. They're inevitable. They look at the chaos of the world and see patterns underneath the surface. They see the code behind the matrix, and they rewrite it according to their vision. To reach level 6, you must abandon the desire for personal glory. You must abandon the desire to control specific individuals. You must fall in love with structure itself. You must become a student of civilization, understanding economics, psychology, history, and physics, then weaving all of these disciplines into a single, coherent tapestry. The architect is extraordinarily rare. Maybe 1 in 10 million people reaches this level. These are the names that survive in history books, not the kings who fought the wars, but the people who designed the systems that made those wars necessary or inevitable. But even the architect is not the final level, because the architect is still attached to their creation. They still care deeply about whether their system works or fails. They still have an ego, even if it's projected into their work rather than their personal life. If their system collapses, they suffer. There is one level higher, a level that is almost inhuman in its nature. The final level of intelligence is not about adding more knowledge or more power. It's about subtraction. It's about becoming the void. At level 7, you stop being the player in the game. You stop being the designer of the game. You become the silence that exists before and after all games. This is the state of total internal sovereignty. The person at level 7 has mastered the ultimate trait: complete emotional and psychological detachment from the external world. They own nothing, yet they possess everything. They have no fear because they have no attachment to outcomes. You cannot threaten someone who doesn't care whether they live or die. You cannot bribe someone who desires nothing you have to offer. You cannot manipulate someone who has no ego to stroke or exploit. The person at level 7 looks at the architect's systems, the puppeteer's schemes, the operator's wars, and the calculator's tricks, and they smile. They see it all as a play, a cosmic joke, a game that takes itself far too seriously. This isn't nihilism. Nihilism is despair and emptiness. This is transcendence. This is seeing through the illusion while still engaging with it, skillfully. The person at level 7 operates with perfect clarity because their vision isn't clouded by desire or fear. They do exactly what is necessary, nothing more and nothing less. They're like water. You try to grasp them and they slip through your fingers. You try to cut them and they reform. You try to burn them and they turn to steam, only to rain down on you later. This level aligns personal will with the natural flow of reality. They don't fight the current of life. They become the current. In Eastern philosophy, this is the Tao. In Stoicism, this is the sage. In the study of human psychology, this is the ultimate form of mastery, because if you encounter someone operating at level 7, you're completely helpless against them. You cannot read them, you cannot predict them. They reflect whatever you project onto them, like a mirror. If you look into them, you only see yourself. They can descend to level 4 to lead an army when necessary, then return to the void. They can play the calculator at a business negotiation, then ascend back to silence. They use all the other levels as tools in their toolkit, but they don't live there permanently. They live in the fortress of their own mind, a fortress with no doors that anyone else can enter. This is the ultimate freedom, the freedom from the need to be somebody important or recognized. And paradoxically, this is where the greatest power lies, because the person who needs nothing commands everything. Now the mirror is in front of you. Where do you rank? Be brutally honest with yourself, because the lie you tell yourself is the most expensive lie you will ever buy. Are you at level 1, drifting through life on autopilot, reacting to circumstances, waiting for permission to truly live? Are you at level 2, seeking applause and recognition, memorizing quotes and ideas, pretending to understand things you've never deeply questioned? Are you at level 3, trapped in the transactional game, paranoid and lonely, despite your success? Are you at level 4, exhausted from carrying the weight of leadership, a target for everyone around you? Are you at level 5, hiding in the shadows, losing your soul to the masks you wear? Are you at level 6, building systems and obsessing over legacy? Or are you approaching level 7, the void where true freedom exists? Most of you watching this are oscillating between level 2 and level 3. You're smart enough to know the game exists, but you're still seeking validation, which keeps you at level 2. Or you're trapped in the endless transactions of level 3, strategizing, but never truly free. That's okay. Awareness is the first step of any ascent. But understand this, the system is designed to keep you down. School is designed to keep you at level 1. University is designed to keep you at level 2. The corporate ladder is designed to trap you at level 3. The institutions of society don't want architects, and they're absolutely terrified of people who reach the void. If you want to climb, you have to go against the grain of your entire biological and social programming. You have to kill the part of you that desperately wants to be liked. You have to kill the part of you that craves safety and comfort. You have to accept that intelligence is not about being nice or being right. It's about being effective. It's about seeing the code underneath reality. So how do you actually move up through these levels? You don't climb by consuming more information. You climb by removing illusions, by subtracting false beliefs rather than adding knowledge. To move from level 1 to level 2, you must wake up to the value of knowledge and self-awareness. Start questioning everything you believe. Ask yourself why you hold each opinion. Whose voice are you repeating? This is uncomfortable, but it's necessary. To move from level 2 to level 3, you must stop caring what people think of you and start caring about what actually works in reality. Stop performing intelligence and start applying it. Test your ideas, fail quickly, learn from results, not theories. To move from level 3 to level 4, you must develop courage and take responsibility, not just for yourself, but for others. Step into leadership. Make decisions without perfect information. Accept that you will be criticized and blamed, and do it anyway. To move from level 4 to level 5, you must learn subtlety and deep psychology. Study how humans actually behave, not how they say they behave. Understand motivation. Learn to inspire voluntary cooperation rather than demanding compliance. To move from level 5 to level 6, you must develop systems, thinking and patience. Study economics, history, organizational behavior. Plan in years and decades, not months. Build structures that outlast you personally. To move from level 6 to level 7, you must let go of everything. Let go of your attachment to outcomes. Let go of your need to be recognized. Let go of your ego's investment in your creations. This is the hardest transition of all, because it requires you to psychologically die while still living. It's a long road, it's a challenging road. Most people turn back because they prefer the comfort of the herd. It's warm in the middle of the crowd. It's cold on the mountain peak. But the view, the perspective you gain is completely different. When you stand at the top, looking down at the masses below, you realize that all the stress, all the drama, all the politics, all the noise that seemed so important, it was all just a game. A game you no longer have to play if you don't want to. You can simply watch. And in that watching, in that state of awareness without attachment, you find the only thing that truly matters: power over yourself. This is your wake-up call. The question isn't whether you're smart enough. The question is whether you're willing to grow, to evolve, to climb, even when it's uncomfortable. Where you are right now is simply your starting point. Intelligence is not a fixed trait you're born with. It's a skill you develop through conscious effort, honest self-reflection, and the courage to face uncomfortable truths about yourself. Every level brings new capabilities and new challenges. Each stage of development opens doors you couldn't even see from the level below. The person at level 1 can't imagine the perspective of level 4. The person at level 3 can't comprehend the freedom of level 7. Start where you are. Be honest about your current level. Don't judge yourself harshly, but don't lie to yourself either. Then take one concrete step toward the next stage. Just one step. That's all growth requires. What will that step be for you? Will you question a belief you've held without examination? Will you stop seeking validation and start seeking results? Will you take responsibility for something bigger than yourself? Will you study the systems that shape your reality? The climb begins with a single step. The awakening begins with a single moment of honest self-awareness. Where do you rank, and where do you want to go? The choice, as always, is yours.